Hey Twin Flames, I just wanted to quickly pop on. If you have watched the weekly check-in for this week, the week ahead energies for the counterparts, I mentioned that I was going to share some profound insights and breakthroughs that I had over this Easter long weekend, the full moon energy. Okay, so on Saturday, which would have been Friday if you're in the northern hemisphere, so Saturday in the southern hemisphere, which was so the night of the morning of the night of the full moon. I had a couple of different dreams that really I wrote them down and recalled them, and I was able to really see what this was talking about. And then later on that day, I had a reading with a client, and this is very common for me. I will, do a reading for someone, and the messages that are coming through are also for me too, because I find it difficult to read for myself. So that sort of explains that. So I just want to recall the dreams I had, but basically this video is about, and this is for both counterparts, so not only divine masculine, not only divine feminines, but divine masculines too. It just may show up in a very different way for you guys. So I wanted to talk about perfectionism. Okay, so when we think of perfectionism, we think it's, in our creative pursuits, we're trying to do everything right, get it right the first time, that kind of thing. But the thing that has really been holding me back is not only perfectionism in those small areas of my life, but in bigger areas of my life, and mostly when it comes to romantic relationships. So this has been a pattern that I have been going through, and up until now, it's been happening, in the background. And it's from different, there's fear there, okay? It's from different experiences I've had in my childhood, but it almost always comes back down to childhood. So, let me just read you the dreams that I had. So, on the 16th, I dreamt of a wedding. It was my wedding. It was my wedding with my counterpart, but it was just sort of about me. It was sort of leading up to the moment of meeting my twin at the ceremony. We need to walk down the aisle, but everything to get there was a lot of obstacles. So I turned up late, and there were a lot of obstacles in the way to get there. So I ended up turning up late, and when I turned up late, I remember, I don't know who it was maybe the wedding planner or something, was like, I think it was like 4 hours late or something like that, because of all the obstacles in the way of getting to the place. And I just remember feeling really, really anxious and really, really stressed. And the person told me, look, we've had to start the reception. So, we've given the guests food, we'll do the ceremony after. And just the idea of that being back to front, it caused a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And when I woke up from that dream, I felt really, really disorientated. Straight after that dream, you know how dreams just sort of mesh into one, but it's like 3 different instances? It was like that. So straight after that dream, I had a dream that my wedding rings were completely tarnished. It's 333. Were completely tarnished. And I remember taking them to the jeweler to have them cleaned, and I remember going, there was like diamonds missing, and I remember taking them to the jeweler and saying to the guy, like, these are my wedding rings, they're super tarnished, I've only just gotten married, and the stones have fallen out, like the diamonds have fallen out. Is this because of something that I've like washed my hands with, or like a product that I've been using that hasn't reacted well with the metal? Like what is it? Like, is it me, or is it the quality of the rings? And when I first was thinking about that, I was like, oh, how superficial of me to think that. But I realized the deeper meaning. It wasn't that, oh, like he's bought me stingy rings or anything like that. It was more like the perfectionism of not trusting the counterpart to provide me with quality. Yes, that was more about the rings, but it was symbolism for the quality of the relationship, quality of the union. Okay, and that goes back to always, expecting the worst, or being conditioned to expect the worst, because I've never had the best in any area of my life. And the only time I've ever had the best of anything is when I've been able to give it to myself. And I remember the jeweler saying, no, this is definitely something that you've been, like a product or something that you've been using, or, that has done this. Let me clean it up. And I remember seeing them cleaned up. It had warranty, obviously. The diamonds were put back in, and they were the most beautiful rings that I've ever seen in my life. And I remember looking at them thinking, how could I have ever thought that they wouldn't be beautiful? They were tarnished because of something that I was doing to ruin them, meaning my contribution to the way that I'm perceiving my union, perceiving my connection with my twin, is contributing to the way that I'm seeing it as tarnished. I'm seeing the connection as tarnished, and it comes back to the perfectionism. And not trusting that my twin will be able to show up for me the way that I try to show up, that I strive to show up in the connection and for him. Obstacles in union, getting there late, things not going according to plan, perfectionism. There was no sense of my counterpart, so this is to do with me. So I knew that because it was nothing really about, I don't remember seeing him in the dream. It was just from my perspective and a very internal thing. When we arrived, everyone was eating the reception first due to delays, then ceremony. I was stressed out and disappointed. Wedding rings being tarnished and needing to get cleaned at the jeweler. I asked if it was because I had touched it with something, or because they're cheap or something like that. He said because of something that I was used. He cleaned them up, and they were the most beautiful diamonds I'd ever seen, the most beautiful rings I'd ever seen. I had underestimated him completely. So I feel like there's a lot of this that plays out when we're getting close to union, and just in the separation stages in general. There's an underestimation when maybe our twin does something, or whenever their own triggers come up, it's like we're allowed to be triggered and we're allowed to have stuff wrong, because we know that we're always going to take accountability for that. We know that we're always going to strive to fix those triggers or those wounds and make sure that it's not impacting the relationship or the connection in a bad way. But because we can't control the other person, there's a lack of trust there. And this goes back to the duality. Twin flames are non-dual. When you are able to recognize that your twin is you experiencing yourself in another body, that doesn't mean that they're separate from you at all, regardless of whether if you're a monadic twin or a split soul twin. It doesn't matter, because it's still, even if you're a monadic twin, it's your higher self that is split into two, divine masculine, divine feminine. So you both have the higher self. So when you talk to your higher self, you're talking to the higher self of your twin, right? It's the same high self that you speak to. So whatever you do and whatever you contribute to yourself, it impacts your twin positively. And when you underestimate your twin underestimates you, and that plays out, yes, maybe in different ways, but it's the same core wound, perfectionism. And that's the one thing that I have been struggling with for years of my life. When one little thing goes wrong, when a flaw shows up, and this is when it first started. When a flaw showed up, there was a couple of little ones. The more flaws that showed up, as time went on, the more my brain started to go, oh no, we've been wrong about this the whole time. This isn't our person. What was I thinking? I'm just back at square one where I was with my ex, with all my exes. They always disappoint me. And I'm always left being the only one committed to my healing. But that's not true in this situation. This is very different. So when we underestimate our twin, that plays out energetically. Even though we're not, like me, for example, we don't fight, we don't yell or argue at each other. We have disagreements that we express, and we have quirks where we'll get shitty at the other, but we won't express that verbally or in a toxic way. There's no toxicity, there's only respect. And sure, we get on each other's nerves, but it's not that volatile. There's no volatile energy at all, right? And what makes this different, this let's just say relationship, right? If we're just looking at from a non-twin flame lens, is the level of respect that I have for my counterpart is, I guess you could say, the exact same level of respect that I have for myself. And I respect myself a lot, to the point where when one thing goes wrong, when something goes wrong or something triggers me and goes, that's the same as that. That's the same as what happened last time. It's going down that line. If I don't speak up and be verbal and expressive, this is a problem for me, I need this fixed, it comes across as criticism based on what he's going through, what he needs to heal. See the triggering? It's really, it comes across as there's no level of trust, and there's underestimation. And whether they're consciously aware of that, oh, she doesn't trust me, oh, she's underestimating me. So you guys in the bathroom?
No.
I'll be done in about 10 minutes.
It's okay.
You just grab me a drink. I'm not lying, I'm filming a YouTube video, I can't pause it. It's okay. It's alright. That's why I'm waiting. Sorry, baby. He's just woken up. He worked from 2 a.m. till 12 p.m. and he's been catching up on his sleep. Anyway, when there's an underestimation and that comes across, that can really come across as, well, whether that's a conscious thing that's being acknowledged or not, it translates energetically. So I feel like that's a sign there. I don't know for what, but I'm all flustered, you can see. Okay, then the next part of the dream was, again, it's perfectionism. So the next part of the dream was, I had a dream someone framed me, right? Someone had put, and this is so random, you know how dreams are so random, right? Someone had put a knife in the strings, the drawstrings of my hoodie, they'd hidden it in there. It's not really, none of this is really related to the wedding dream. I was in a random shop, like waiting to be served, and someone accused me of having a weapon, and the shop owners must have called the police or something. I was adamant that I didn't have any weapons on me, because I didn't. But then, as the cops were coming, I think when I was doing so, I realized that there was something in there. So someone, and I can't remember, I feel like someone gave me this jumper, or someone must have just accused me of it, but it was there. So this is the perfectionism, right? I know for a fact, I'm adamant that I'm not doing anything wrong here. I know that there is nothing wrong here, yet there was something there. It was hidden and I was unaware, and oh no, the cops are coming, right? The cops came, believed me, and were going to drop me off wherever I needed to be, because I must have been walking around. I realized it was in there, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I'm just going to deal with this. I'm just going to pretend it's not there. Then I was overcome with, oh no, like, and this is the type of person I am, right? I'm not going to just lie myself out of the situation. I'm a very honest and upfront person. So I started crying uncontrollably, freaking out with anxiety. And I confessed that there was a weapon in the drawstrings of my hoodie, but I didn't put it in there. And I didn't even know until someone had accused me of it. And then I realized, oh my God, there's something there. It's not even my hoodie. But it was my hoodie, but I don't know why or how it got there. And I was like, I've been set up, but I don't have any way to prove this. And I was just uncontrollably like freaking out. And I was just crying because I had no way to prove it. The cop was like, it's okay, it's fine, we'll figure it out, just tell me everything. Like, I'll do what I can. So anxiety over being judged by other people or my counterpart, accepting the flaws I have and the flaws of others. Okay, there's a hard time with that. Perfectionism in life and relationships is so unhealthy. By not letting others down, you let yourself down. You block yourself from experiencing love. You love unconditionally. Maybe I didn't finish writing that. Putting an end to an old habit and form a way of thinking, barriers and difficulties on the path. So these are a couple of things I channeled. But then what made it even more apparent to me was I was doing a reading for a client. It was just over Instagram, so I typed these out. And as I'm voice memoing, because I find it easier to just look at what I'm doing and talk as I'm seeing it. Listen to this. Things are going to be starting to move, change, and shift to a much happier time. But in order for things to shift, and in order for me, to feel a sense of emotional fulfillment, there's something that needs to be addressed. And what's coming up is a sense of rigidity in your stability. So me, because I'm someone who needs stability, I think that I'm going to get that by continuing this unconscious perfectionism that I've been doing my whole entire life, right? That has been brought down to me from like the mother wound. And I talked about this on my Instagram, so go over and check the post on Instagram. I'll show you it. This needs to be released and acknowledged before things can change, because this sense of perfectionism is what is contributing to the inner conflict and turmoil that you're experiencing in your outer reality. In your life, you have gotten used to the idea of needing things to be perfect and always right on track in order for life to be enjoyable, and in order to experience happiness and emotional satisfaction and fulfillment. And that's just not true. In fact, the struggles that are currently happening seem like they're dragging on and on because of this idea, because of this belief. It's a little funny because this is what is keeping this state of immense disappointment continuing. And it's this that is actually preventing things from progressing and moving forward. Somewhere in life, you have experienced something, or maybe multiple events, that caused you to believe that unless things are constantly moving and growing, that life cannot and should not be enjoyed. You cannot and should not be happy. That this is that sense of perfectionism. Now, ironically, whatever's happening in the twin flame connection is what's pushing us to acknowledge that this perfectionism is actually prevalent in our life. Now, for those of you who are resonating with this, I want you to listen to me, and I need you to really take this in and accept this with your soul. Things don't always have to be going right. You don't always have to be progressing, and you don't always have to be achieving things in order to experience happiness. Sometimes things can just be, and that is what will equate to more growth, when you allow things to flow and be. There can be disappointments in your life. There can be hard times in your relationship or your connection or your job, or just even within your own sense of self, and you are still allowed to experience joy, happiness, contentment, and a sense of safety in your life. Things don't always have to be working out, and something that you deemed perfect, like for me, it was my relationship. I thought that he was perfect. I thought that this was it, that there was not going to be any sort of happenings of what I've experienced in past relationships again. Boy, was I wrong. Excuse me, my nose is very itchy. And something that you deemed perfect doesn't always have to be perfect to still be good for you, including those you love and including yourself. You are not ruining your life or setting yourself up for failure. You are not betraying yourself or those around you by allowing yourself to feel okay or happy in your day-to-day moments. It does not mean that you are forgetting the problem or ignoring it or even letting it slide. It just means that you are allowing yourself to experience all facets of life exactly as they are. Not everything is a reason to be on guard, and not everything needs to be fixed. And not trying to fix it doesn't mean it's going to break. You may try to make sure you don't neglect something by trying to fix it or maintain it constantly, because you have always felt or been neglected. I promise you, things will begin to work out again when you accept that part of you that feels the need to have everything under control before you can relax or enjoy yourself. When you allow that part of you to relax, regardless of what's happening in your life, you allow flow to be your primary state of being, not survival. You are always surviving, naturally. By existing, we are surviving. You don't need to put extra effort into surviving. Our bodies work for us. We don't have to make sure our heart continues to beat or that our organs are continuing to function every day. They do that naturally. Only then do we intervene if they stop working. But until they do, we enjoy life. And I want to leave you guys with that because actually there's something else I do want to share. It just made so much sense to me that this is what's happening on both ends. Now, here's how it plays out for the masculines. So this was what I wrote for the weekend energies. You can check out the post over on my Instagram. So this weekend, the Divine Feminines are releasing deep-seated perfectionism, which is ingrained in childhood trauma, especially the mother wound. Today, the feminines are realizing the impact that perfectionism has had not only on their lives, but themselves and the way that their masculine connects with them. Not everything is a reason to be on guard, and not everything needs to be fixed. And not trying to fix it doesn't mean that it's going to break. You may try to make sure you don't neglect anything by trying to fix or maintain it because you have always felt or been neglected. Okay, no, I've already written that. Okay, so for the masculines, this weekend the masculines are also realizing a sense of perfectionism, but it's releasing a sense of perfectionism, but it's perfectionism when it comes to their worth. Just as the divine feminines, divine masculines are realizing that their worth isn't dependent on their level of material success or stability. It's ironic because the feminine's projection of perfectionism in all areas of their life further validates the masculine's internal need to achieve perfectionism in order to be worthy. Can you see how that plays out? This is where the underestimation comes in, right? Also, they're realizing today that their silence about all of this only further pushes their feminine away. It only further pushes them away from themselves. The masculines have done this their whole lives, and they always find themselves reaching a certain point in which they feel so disconnected from all of their reality, including themselves. This disconnection from reality further proves to them that they do need to continue slaving away, because this disconnection from their reality proves to them that they haven't yet achieved a level of success or stability that would make them feel connected again, when really that's not the problem, right? The masculines are seeing the opportunity to communicate this either to themselves or to their feminine. It doesn't matter which, because once the truth is communicated, it will be understood between both of them, even if only communicated internally, right? Because we are twin flames, a non-duality. The masculines are removing this illusion. More so, the fog is lifting around this distortion that they have. They feel a sense of pride and confidence within themselves that allows them to be more honest with themselves first and foremost, and what this has meant for them up until this point in their life. The energetic shift they both have been waiting for has finally happened. Eradicating perfectionism is what these pairs have needed to do. Things can finally begin to start flowing again. And I feel like this week, that is what is being anchored in. That is what is being processed and integrated at the same time. Absolutely amazing. I just feel like my intention is that all twin flames see this message, regardless, it's 2323, regardless if they are in alignment with my journey, with those who are in alignment with me, because I just feel like that is so important. We think perfectionism is just needing to make things neat and tidy. It's so much more than that. And it is so covert. It can play out in all areas of our life. And perfectionism doesn't actually give us great outcomes. More often than not, it ruins things for us, because it's rooted in rigidity and lack and fear and survival. At some point, we have reverted to perfectionism because it was the only way that we could get things done or make things happen. And I can definitely see how this is relating back to the mother wound, because especially for my counterpart, I can definitely see how his mum has lived in this energy and still continues to. And that's why romantic relationships for him trigger this within him. It's absolutely amazing and absolutely profound. Let me know if this resonated for you and if this, you know, really did spark something within you and sort of helped you realize, wow, this is what's pushing away, the perfectionism. So the answer to this is by embracing, if you're feminine, embracing the dark feminine. I've got posts on this over on my Instagram. Please go and check it out. Let me know if you want more info on the dark feminine. It's really sort of connecting to Lilith. Okay, and just embracing that doesn't mean that you start becoming toxic. When you acknowledge and embrace the dark feminine aspects of yourself, you can integrate that and merge her or him or it or they, whatever your pronouns are. When you merge that aspect of yourself into your being, you're no longer having fragmented parts of you, right? And you can use those energies in a positive way to get more done, because you're not shunning or you know, pushing that part of you away. You're no longer denying that part of you. You're accepting that part of you, which again helps the masculine accept that part of them and release resistance. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that resonated. Let me know if it did. Please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. I am offering personal readings at this time. You can check the link for that in my description box. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I do post daily twin flame messages, readings on both of those, so definitely go and follow me there. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Take care.